Do not stick any arms, hands, heads, limbs, or valuables outside the train car at any time. Please avoid messing with any window shades, as they are old and fragile.
All aboard! We are about to depart Barber Junction, the building on your left. The building was built in 1898 and is very similar to passenger stations in small towns across the country through most of the 20th century. Railroad stations were centers of commerce, handling passengers, mail, and Railway Express agency freight, which is today UPS or FedEx. Our train today is similar to those of the 1950s. Right before the train moves, you'll hear the engineer blow the horn. Two long blasts like this mean the train will move forward, and three short blasts like this mean the train will back up. Train crews use the horn as well as hand signals, lantern signals, and radios to communicate with each other. As we shove north, the tracks out the right side of the train belong to Norfolk Southern and are part of the route between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, Georgia. In fact, we are exactly halfway between the two cities, 300 miles each way. That is why Spencer shops are located in this precise location. Amtrak trains also run on these tracks and include the Piedmont, the Carolinian, and the Crescent, which run as far north as New York City and as far south as New Orleans. The first tracks were laid here in 1850 by the North Carolina Railroad. Before the Southern Railway opened its Spencer shops in 1896, all that was here was farmland and trees. The town of Spencer, like the shops, was named for Samuel Spencer, the president of the railroad. Railroad workers at Spencer had a different living arrangement than textile mill workers in this part of North Carolina. Mill workers generally lived in a company house, shopped at the company store, and made less money than comparable railroad jobs. Rent, utilities, and store items were taken from their wages. Southern Railway employees living in Spencer owned their own house, shopped in the publicly owned stores, and enjoyed higher wages. Railroad jobs were hard to come by, which led many employees to work between 30 and 50 years before retiring. Many families had several generations working at the same time at Spencer shops.
That's next week.
As we continue our trip, you may notice the two big silver tanks with the letters SR painted on them out the right side of the train. Built in the 1920s, these two large water tanks held water for fighting fires here on the site. To fill those tanks up, water had to be pumped in all the way from the Yadkin River, which is 4 miles away to the north. Next to those tanks is a small red brick building. Don't let its size fool you, because it was one of the most important buildings here at Spencer Shops. It's called the Transformer House. Built in 1914, that building housed the controls for all the electrical power distribution through the shops as well as through the town of Spencer. In 1990, this structure was restored, and today it is one of our restaurants. Coming up on the right side of our train, you will see a medium-sized red brick building. That's called the Master Mechanic's Office. Built in 1911, the Master Mechanic's Office held the office, the payroll, office clerks.
I think
and
they
the
do
officials
give
of the
cab
naval
rides.
division of the Southern Railway. Today, it houses our administrative offices and the gift shop, which we call the gift station. The big gray building behind the Master Mechanic's Office is believed to be the oldest building on site. It is called Warehouse Number 3. Built in 1896, it housed the Master Mechanic's Office until it moved to the MMO in 1911. From that day to this, it has continued to function as a storage facility as well as an area for special events. The last building in this line is the metal building that